Hey guys, it's your Tech Kuya Jamancheta and welcome back to my channel, and today we're gonna unbox and take a closer look at the realme C3 smartphone. So yes, it's the newest budget smartphone and it will arrive here in the Philippines really soon, and thankfully we got a review unit from Realme Philippines. So what can we expect from the Realme C3? Well, of course, we got here a Helio G70 processor. We also got here a 6.5-inch HD Plus display. We also got here a massive 5,000 milliamp hours of battery, a triple lens camera with a 12 megapixel main camera, 2 megapixel macro, and 2 megapixel depth. And then there's the 5 megapixel selfie camera. Inside the smartphone is also a 3 gigs of RAM along with 32 gigs of internal storage. So the smartphone is quite interesting because it's powered by a Helio G70 processor by MediaTek and it's made for gaming. That's why this smartphone might be an interest for those people who are on the budget and who wants a gaming smartphone. So what are we waiting for? So let's unbox and let's take a closer look at the Realme C3 smartphone. So there we go. Yeah, so welcome to the Realme family. So inside, we got the information guide and also the quick guide. So we got here the smartphone and it actually reminds me of the Realme 5i. And of course, the smartphone comes with a 10 watts charger, and yeah, it's not a fast charger. And of course, this one comes with a micro USB to USB-A port. Unfortunately, we're still using a micro USB port in here, but it's not surprising since this one is a budget smartphone. So you've seen what's inside the box of the Realme C3. Now time to clean my table and let's check out the Realme C3. Okay, so we've fixed our table, we changed our cameras, we got a secondary camera in here, so we got a close-up look for the Realme C3. So you can see here that the Realme C3 has the same feel and same design, almost the same design of the Realme 5i, except that we got a different patterns at the back. So yes, it is still plastic, and yes, we do got here a different patterns that you can really feel once you hold it. And then we've also got here the fingerprint scanner. And compared to the Realme 5i that has a quad camera lens, the Realme C3 packs a triple lens camera with the main 12 megapixel rear camera. The thing that I don't like in here is that they've used macro lens for the third camera. So I wish they just use an ultra wide angle lens for the third camera of the Realme C3. So yeah, there's that for the back of the Realme C3. It's quite good, and yeah, I do like the design of this one. So the other color is actually red. If you like red, you could go for that one. Unfortunately, the one that I got is the blue one. On the left, we got here the power button, and on the other side, we got here the volume rocker. And of course, we got here the triple card tray at the top of the volume rocker of the smartphone. Below, you can see here the 3.5mm headphone jack, the micro USB port, and also the speaker grill. So the smartphone isn't the slimmest smartphone that I've seen in its price range or in its budget, but this one is quite handy. I mean, yeah, we got here a 6.52-inch HD Plus display, but the aspect ratio helps the smartphone to have a narrow and tall display. And speaking of a tall and narrow display, the Realme C3 does have a really ergonomic design. I actually love the value that we're getting on this smartphone. So as you can see here in the smartphone, we do got here a pretty good bezel. So as you can see, we got a bezel on the sides. There's no punch hole display on this one, which is just fine with me. I mean, the notch is still for a budget smartphone. It's still fine with me. We got here the front-facing camera. It's a 5 megapixel selfie camera though. So yeah, I'm not expecting too much from it. Then of course, you can see here the bezels are really thin on the sides. But below, you can see here that, yeah, there's a little bit of chain below the smartphone. And yes, you are looking at the Realme UI 1.0, which is different now from the Color OS, but the feel of this UI is very much similar to Color OS and yeah, to most smartphones from Oppo that we have reviewed before. The thing that I like about the Realme UI is that it's fast, it's very optimized, and yes, we still got here the most applications that we have seen on Color OS. And I think this one is pretty optimized, and I hope that once we tested its battery, I hope that we could get a good battery life on this one. And actually, I'm expecting that we can have a long battery life on the Realme C3 because this one packs a 5000 milliamp hours of battery. However, the storage configuration, this one starts at, I believe, at the 32 gigs. As of this recording, this smartphone hasn't been released yet in the Philippines, and we don't know yet the variants that will arrive here in our country. But since we got the 32 gigs of internal storage, yes, you could install most games and applications, but don't expect to install a lot of games on the Realme C3. But of course, you could still install, PUBG Mobile, Call of Duty, and I'm really excited to try that one out. So our gaming review will be out soon, so be sure to check that out. So time to look at the Realme UI. So as you can see here, the Realme UI is quiet, fast, very optimized, and I love the looks of it. I mean, we got here the circle icons, we got here by default the Google search bar below. I always use that, it's very useful for me. And of course, we got here the Google applications, we got YouTube Music, we got the tools in here. Most of them are pretty useful, most of them are not. Game Space, this is the one that we have seen before on Color OS. And of course, we still got here the Game Center, the Theme Store, and what is this? Hey Top Cloud. So yeah, basically they have their own cloud services for this smartphone. That's pretty useful. Of course, we got here some bloatwares including Agoda. We got Lazada, Opera, and Facebook pre-installed on the smartphone. But of course, you can uninstall those applications if you do not want to use those apps. So we've installed, as you can see here, PUBG Mobile, Mobile Legends, NBA, and even Call of Duty Mobile. But we're gonna do a separate gaming video for the Realme C3, and of course, we're gonna bench it out on Antutu. So yeah, so the Realme UI 1.0 is very similar to the Color OS that we have reviewed before on most Oppo smartphones and even Realme smartphones. So yeah, I do not have a problem on using this UI. So we already know that the Realme C3 packs a Helio G70 processor, and I think that's already a really good value for the smartphone. I do love the specs that we're getting on this one. We got here a triple lens camera. So how does the triple lens camera of the smartphone? So yeah, you can see here that the UI of the camera is a little bit similar, but it's actually a lot better compared to the previous UI. Of course, we still got here the chroma boost. We got here the filters if you want to add some filters. And of course, you could change the frame in here, the timer and settings. It's very user-friendly. I do not have any problems with it. Again, there's no ultra-wide angle lens on this one, but we could use the camera up to 4 times, which is pretty good to me. We got the portrait mode, we got the ultra macro mode as expected, we got time lapse, we got expert mode, slow-mo, panorama, and of course, we got here the video that can record up to 4K. So as you can see here, the video resolution that we can get is up to 1080. I'm sorry, it's not 4K, it's 1080p. So yeah, I'm not expecting 4K on this one. I mean, it's a budget smartphone. I will be really surprised if the smartphone will have a 4K recording. But yeah, 1080p is fine with me. So of course, I've used the camera of the Realme C3 a while ago, so I didn't expect too much from it. I mean, it's a budget smartphone, but from what we're getting, I think this one is pretty good. So our first photo is my selfie. As you can see here, it's not the best selfie that I've taken, but for a budget smartphone, this one is quite good. We got here some details. It's not the perfect details what we can get, but we got here the right colors, and the details are just fine with me. Again, not the best one, but it's really fine. So we got here a shot of the plant, and you can see here that the details are really good. We got here some bokeh. We didn't use any portrait mode for this one, but we got here the details, the colors are right, and everything was quite okay for me, especially for a budget smartphone like this. This one is using the macro camera of the smartphone. I didn't expect too much from the macro camera of the smartphone because I rarely use the macro camera of any smartphones, but the Realme C3 does have a pretty good macro camera. We got here some details, but again, it's not as good as the other cameras of the Realme C3. This one is another shot using the Realme C3. We got here the right details, the right colors. It's not perfect, but we got here some nice details on the box and the logo of the digital walker. This one is the Animal Crossing stages that I got, the amiibos that I got. And actually, we got here really good colors. I can't believe that this is actually a budget smartphone. Look, there's the bokeh, it's not on portrait mode, and the colors are really fine. In this shot, we can see here that we got here some nice colors, but it's not perfect. The contrasts are not that perfect for me, but for a budget smartphone, I'm quite fine with it. So here's another shot of my stash, and as you can see here, really nice details, really nice colors, and yeah, even if you zoom in, you could see the details on the text and other details on the boxes of these devices. So as of this recording, the price of the smartphone has not been released yet. We do not know yet the variants, but the fact that we're getting a Helio G70 processor, we're getting a 5,000 milliamp hours of battery, and of course, we're getting a 6.52-inch display. I think this one is a really good value for its price, which is probably below 7,000 pesos. I'm expecting it to be below 7,000 pesos since we got the Realme 5i 2 at around that level. So yeah, it might look like the same as the Realme 5i, but it's actually different. The G70 processor is quite interesting, and I can't wait to do a gaming test of this smartphone. But for now, the Realme C3 is a quite good smartphone. It's a big upgrade from the Realme C2, and I can't wait for this smartphone to be released in the market. And of course, I'm going to do a review of this smartphone, so be sure to check out my website at jamonline.ph. So I guess that's it for our unboxing and hands-on of the Realme C3. So it's a really interesting smartphone. Again, you get a good value for its price. So if you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, be sure to click that subscribe button along with that bell button to get notified with the latest videos from Jam Online. And of course, don't forget to check out the other videos that I'm gonna put at the description. It's about the Realme C3 from the TechMob, so be sure to check them out. So once again, I am Jam of jamonline.ph. Thank you for watching. See you guys again in my next video.